Would you like to talk to Dr. Gala, please?
Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me to this panel. I'm really honored to be next to you all. I have to add to your comment, George, about the bone marrow. The bone marrow is actually tissue and it's an organ. It's actually constitutes 6% of the body. So if we talk about organ transplant, we include bone marrow. If we talk about tissue, we include bone marrow as well. So I just want to give you a picture of what we see in the hospital in terms of stem cells and what we do with the patients. So you can hear the cheer from my team when we have a donor for our patient. And the reason for that, if you look at related donors, that means you find a sibling that's a match to you is about 25%, 1 in 4 chance. For unrelated donation is much higher than that. It's about almost 50% in certain ethnic backgrounds. And the easiness of finding a donor is only going to happen by increasing the base of donation for the one match and other registries. And to do that is by people becoming aware of the importance of the stem cell transplant. So what I can tell you today, that stem cell transplantation or bone marrow transplantation is not a luxury, is not an option, it's a necessity. You need to have bone marrow transplantation in certain disease to keep people alive. It's a gift of life. It's simply that. So with that, I can tell you the more donors we're going to have in the registries, and especially the Canadian registries, the more chance we have donors for our patients and the more success. And I can tell you also the good news is that transplant today is really different than 20 years ago. We have more medications. We have more ways of treating what we call graft versus host disease, of rejection and infections. So the outcome of the transplant today is much, much better than 20 years ago. So with that in mind, this is basically a gift of life. I was coming here from Princess Margaret and walking down the street and it was rainy. And it just happened to me to imagine the picture of somebody with diagnosis of acute leukemia, the way they think. It's a gloomy day, it's really cloudy, it's rainy, and really the hope is not that clear. When you have a donor, it's the sunshine. You are the sunshine for that patient. So think about it that way. And thank you very much for including me here.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Doctor. Before we get to the questions, I want to also mention that MPP Frank Lees sponsored this press conference, as he has many times in the last few years, and we need more people like MPP Frank Lees to start helping in leadership roles in addressing this problem as well. So with that, we're open for questions. You can address them to anyone here on the panel. I guess we must have been pretty good up here.
Well, I'd like to build on just one thing, if I have just for a second. Of course, Dr. Gall mentioned here is about tissue, of course, being the organ that we're talking about here as well. And blood being an important part of this. And George, of course, you've always been a big advocate of blood donation. And of course, Robin, knowing intrinsically what that those people that donate blood and platelets are all about today. But certainly, as Canadian Blood, speaking on behalf of Canadian Blood Services, and as we do move towards other lines of business, as organ and tissue, as stem cell, there's still the undercurrent of what Canadians need to know is to donate blood as well. This is an important story about stem cell donation and being that one person that's going to save a life, but it's also about, on a regular basis, of being someone there to help save lives every day, and that's through blood donation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I guess what we can do now then, if there's no questions, we can do some one-on-ones. And following that, we're scheduled at around 2:25. Hopefully it's not really raining that bad out, so we can light the famous torch of life. And then we're going to march with it towards the Canadian Blood Services building on College Street, where a tour will follow after that. Is that correct?
Yes, we'll be going down to the apheresis clinic,
okay,
which will have platelet donors, which are linked to cancer patients as we speak. So it'll give Robin a nice chance to meet with some donors.
Perfect. Dr. Galal, will you be able to join us? Or I know that you're very busy. You're probably...
I'm going to try.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, we can break now and do our one-on-ones before we go to the front.